Hey guys, I am not sure if you have met me before, but my name is Denise Radford. I am the president and founder of Erie Puppy Mill Awareness, and I'm also a veterinarian. I'm on break right now from my shift, but I wanted to make this video to talk to you guys a little bit about the proposed legislation that is kind of circulating in the House and Senate in Pennsylvania right now. So let's go back a little bit. So I am a veterinarian. I've wanted to be a veterinarian for almost my entire life. And when I was a little kid, I distinctly remember going into pet shops and begging my mom for a puppy. We had dogs, we had adopted mutts, we had a couple of purebred dogs from really, really good breeders. And but you know, how can you turn down those eyes and those cages at the pet stores? And so I begged and begged and begged, and thankfully my mom said no over and over again. Once I got my license and was in high school, I was looking for a job, and one of the first things I did was go over to some of the local pet stores. There was one the town north from me, the town to the east from me, there was a couple, and one from the town in the west. And the first thing I chose was the town in the west, and I remember going and thinking that I was gonna do a good job there. The interview went really well. They liked me. I was a responsible teenager, a responsible kid with a car, straight A's, wanted to be a veterinarian. I seemed like a shoo-in. And I remember, just like any prepared individual, when they asked me at the end of the interview if I had any follow-up questions, I asked, you know, these dogs aren't from puppy mills, right? I don't want to work somewhere that supports that. And they, of course, said, just like all the pet stores say, no, we get our dogs from responsible breeders. They're hand-selected. They come from all over the Midwest and the Pennsylvania area. And I said, okay, that's great. And we moved on. And then I didn't get the job. And then, as any person like me would do, I started to think long and hard about what I messed up in that interview, because it seemed like it went so well. And I thought about puppy mills. And I turned to Google and I started researching, and my eyes were open to an industry that I wish was not real. These stores that I spent years going into and begging my mom for a puppy, they've been lying to me for years. They do get their dogs from puppy mills, places where they place the production, the money that the dog can make for them, way above welfare, way above socialization, cleanliness, humaneness. And there's 10,000 of them across the US. And I knew then and there that I had to do something about it. It started off by just being me educating my family and friends. During college, I was in charge of an organization that taught people. We had a committee for puppy mill awareness, and we taught college students, and we actually helped educate the community so much about puppy mills that a pet store there was not able to survive on their current business model of selling puppy mill dogs. And then in Erie, I ended up starting this organization called Erie Puppy Mill Awareness, which you all know and hopefully love. So now that you know the backstory and why I'm so motivated, I want to tell you a couple more things. So in Erie, as a veterinarian, I saw so many dogs come in, so many puppies come in that were purchased from a local pet store or other puppy mill sources, such as an online retailer where the dog was shipped in. And it's heartbreaking every time. The puppies, even the healthy ones, even the ones that aren't plagued with worms and bad elbows and heart defects and parvo and distemper and pneumonia and maloccluded teeth or eye defects, ringworm, scabies mites, hookworms, even the ones that weren't sick, I knew we're going to end up sick. Something genetic was going to come out later on, because the mom and dad dog that they put together to make these puppies in the puppy mills, they aren't screened for health defects. All the puppy miller wants is 2 dogs that can make puppies. And dogs are really good at that. They don't have to be healthy to reproduce. And even the ones that didn't have all those diseases and came to me healthy, I knew because of the lack of socialization that they got as puppies, they weren't going to turn out to be lovely, wonderful family pets like everybody wanted. Dogs go through a socialization period between about 6 and 16 weeks of age, where they develop socially just like a child would between the ages of 0 and 6 years. In dog language, that comes out to meaning if dogs aren't handled nicely, if they aren't introduced to people of different shapes and sizes, if they aren't introduced to loud noises, if the only thing they know is chicken wire and pottying where they sleep, then they have a very hard time getting used to those things once they're out of the puppy mill. Many times they don't get used to it at all. In dogs, anxiety or stress can turn to fear, which can turn to destructive behaviors and unfortunately bites. Did you know that behavior problems are the number 1 reason for relinquishment of animals to shelters? Just think about that. There are 10,000 puppy mills in the United States. The number 1 and all those dogs do not get proper socialization. And the number 1 reason for relinquishment to the shelters is behavioral issues. And over 2 million dogs in the U.S. are euthanized every single year at shelters because there's just not enough space for them. There are too many dogs going into the shelters and not enough going out. And that's why this legislation can actually make a huge difference. Not only would the legislation proposed now, would it decrease the number of puppy mill dogs that are produced, it would increase the adoption from shelters. Pet stores can stay in business by just switching to the humane model. And there are multiple stores on the east side of Pennsylvania already that have switched to the humane model on their own, and they're grateful for it. They think it's been a wonderful change for them. They knew it was the right thing to do. And we even have a letter from them saying how grateful they are for making the switch. So pet stores can stay in business under this legislation. The second thing about the legislation is it's going to protect the consumer by increasing transparency. So puppy millers won't be able to sell their puppies at flea markets or roadside stands anymore, or at the pet stores. And if they place advertisements, they'll have to include their USDA number to hopefully eventually increase searchability and transparency so that people can look and see where these dogs are coming from. Finally, this legislation will not impact reputable breeders. At Erie Puppy Mill Awareness, we don't have any problem with real, reputable, compassionate breeders. Excuse me. And we want them to stay at their hobby. We want them to produce healthy dogs. As a veterinarian, I want to see healthy, happy puppies and healthy families. I don't want to see sick, behaviorally disturbed dogs because of the way that they were produced. And so I urge you to look on our resources on our Facebook page and find out who your senator and your representative is and call them. It'll take less than 5 minutes. You'll probably talk to a receptionist anyway. Tell them that your vote for them is going to rely on how they vote on this legislation. Tell them that you want this legislation to pass. Tell them it's better for dogs, it's better for consumers, it protects business owners and gives them a way to stay in business. It will likely decrease euthanasia rates in shelters. It's therefore better for the taxpayers. and it will not negatively affect reputable breeders. It was nice to meet you today. I really hope that you comment and tell me that you called your senator. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing that. You have the power to make a difference right now with 5 minutes. So please protect the puppies, protect the dogs, protect the consumers, and call your senator. Thanks.